Hi, I'm Loraine Prokopiou and we're going to be working on the Align Pilates A8 Pro Reformer today. This is the third in the series of our upper body, upper arm, upper limb workouts, and this is the most advanced one. We're going to start on the reformer, working through the mid-back series, and then I've got the tower set up with some arm springs and some push-through bar springs, and we're going to try and combine the reformer and the tower together for our workout today, making it a little bit more complex. Let's just get started. So I'm going to come down onto the reformer. Now I've just got one red spring on here, so it's fairly light. We're just warming up. And I'm just going to start straight into that mid-back series. So picking up the straps, I'm going to choose to use the shorter loops here, bringing the legs into a tabletop position, and then I'm just going to press down and up, feeling the connection through the abdominals, just supporting the weight of the legs as I work the arms here. So we can use this workout for a bit of sort of post-rehab strengthening through the upper body. Let me change up here. I'm going to make some snow angels now. So I'm taking the arms out to the side and then returning. Or you could use this as a workout if you want to split. So maybe one day you just want to really focus on your upper body, and then another day you want to focus on your lower body. This would be a great place to really get into some strong work through the arms. Great, I'm going to finish off there with the hands by the hips, and then I'm going to take this into arm circles. So bringing the arms up, out and around to the hips, and then I'm just going to keep that going, circling those arms, feeling the movement through the shoulders, just warming them up on this lightish spring here. And then I'll reverse, up, out and around. A couple more here, keeping that control through the spine. Last one, finishing off. I'm just going to hold down and work some triceps, so just bend and straighten the elbows. Now I'm hovering my elbows off the carriage right now. If you want to, you could land your elbows onto the carriage, but hovering them off just makes it a little more challenging, and you just got to work on controlling through those upper arms, keeping them still in space while the elbows bend and straighten. Let's go one more. Nice, then I'm going to return to the stopper and just land the feet, and then we'll just prep up for some cheerleader. So I'm going to reach the hands to the sky and then just drop one out to the side and then return and do the other side. So I'm just thinking about that movement and control through the shoulder. I'm getting a little bit of a stretch on that arm as I'm dropping it out to the side, keeping a bit of tension through the straps as I'm working. Nice, and then let's take it into the full version of the exercise. So back to tabletop with the legs. Hands start down to the hips, and then I'm just going to transition straight into that cheerleader position and then return. So it's a little challenge in the coordination here as you're alternating those arms. One pom-pom up, one pom-pom out as you work into that cheerleader posture. And I'm noticing as well, as I'm doing this kind of unilateral style work, that I've got a control through the center too. So keep that center nice and long and straight as these arms are doing different things. This is my last one. Bring it all the way in, control up. And I'm just going to take one circle around just for the stretch and the reach, and then control everything back to the stopper. And I'm just going to release and hook those onto the uprights, and then I'll come on up into sitting. Nice. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to come into kneeling, and we're going to work a long stretch. So as you're coming onto the kneeling position, just taking hold of the foot bar first, and then come into the kneeling on the carriage, just so it's nice and safe here. I'm going to bring my chest over the foot bar. I'm just going to push back with the legs a little bit to come into this half plank position, and then I'm going to take some press ups. So we'll just bend and straighten the elbows first of all, keeping the heart floating up towards the ceiling, feeling nice and strong through the upper body. And I'm going to make this one my last one. And then pushing back and controlling forwards. So this is your long stretch prep here. Now I'm keeping my thumbs with my fingers. It helps keep the wrists in a more vertical position, which can feel a little more comfortable through the wrists. But you may find that you feel a little safer perhaps gripping on with the thumb around. So you choose. I find that most comfortable and I feel safe. All right, let's combine that. So I'm going to push away and a return and a press up and a return. Push away, return, press up and up. And here we go again. Nice. Okay, we're going to make a little change. So you can continue with that or come out into your plank. So I'm pulling my feet a little bit more forwards because I want to make sure I can get some weight down through the feet. Take the body weight through the arms first. So I'm going to hold my chest over the foot bar, push down through the arms and lift the knees off, and then I can push out and in. Now this, because I've only got the one spring on, I don't know if you can see, but I've got a little shake going on here. So my abdominals are working like crazy as I'm controlling out and back in. Nice. So I'm going to do one more. This is good. And then return, and I'm going to land the knees down. All right. So that's nice and strong on the abdominals, but I want to work my arms a little harder. So I'm going to add a blue spring. So I've now got one red, one blue, and I'm going to go back to that long stretch position. So taking the weight through the arms, knees come off and push away. Now you'll notice I can go further because I have more support from the springs, but I'm working those arms harder as I'm pushing out and in. All right, I'm going to try that combo. So push out, control in, a press up, return, push out, control in, press up, return, one more round, and press up and return, and we're done. I'm going to land my knees there. Awesome, and release. Good. So I'm going to take it down to working the tower and the reformer now. We're going to go back to that mid-back series. So I want a lighter spring on, so I'm going to take the red off and leave the blue on. I'll just scoot around this way now. Just watch out when you're doing what I'm doing because this carriage moves easy. So make sure you feel like you're in control, you know what you're doing with your springs, and you really need to do that in this situation because we're going to add the springs from above as well. So let's do that. The easiest way to do this, so I've got some short yellow springs on here. Now I've made them a little bit longer by adding another hook in, okay? So you could do that, or you could maybe have a longer yellow if you have that in your spring setup. So with the hand that's nearest the tower, I'm holding on to these springs. The other hand's going to come around. Do you know what? I've got that. No, I haven't. I've got that right. So I'm going to reach this hand underneath and I'm going to roll in. Yeah. So it's a little bit fiddly because you've got the spring pull here, which will pull you off your stopper on the carriage. I'm hoping that makes sense. All right, so I've got hold of these straps. I'm going back to my mid-back series, legs into tabletop, and I'm going to push down and control up. So now I'm controlling the movement of the carriage in kind of an indirect way because I'm pulling the springs here, my arm springs. I've only got a blue on the reformer, so it will move underneath me as I pull these arm springs. Let's take this, see if I can work some triceps. So notice how it bounces when you get to the end of the movement. Try and let that bounce stop. And let's try some triceps. Here we go, bend and straighten. Feels good. But I really got to push through. I'm working the arms much harder. than I was with the just this direct control through the reformer and the reformer straps. I'm going to take this into arm circles. Now the temptation here as well, as you're working, is to kind of speed up. Try and avoid that. Keep the control. Because as you feel the bounce happening, you want to speed up. Now that, I'm going to reverse my circle now. I'm laughing because I so want to speed up. Oh, there we go. I hit the stopper again. Let's try that one more time. Really controlling. And I've got to really fire up all the muscles around my arms and shoulders to control that. Should we try a cheerleader? Let's give it a go. One arm up, one arm out. And then press back in again. That's tough. Let's keep it going. Nice. And I've got to do one more to make me even. Ooh, excellent. And then we'll control that all the way back up again. I'm going to find the foot bar a moment. Now I'm turning over to my left. I'm going to put both straps into my left hand and pivot around that way to come on up. As I say, this your thing that you're sitting on moves really easy, and you've got the pull of the springs, which is going to pull you up. So just kind of being aware of that as you're working through. All right, so let's pop those back. I'm going to go on to a arms pulling, kneeling on the carriage, I should say. I'm working with these straps now. So I'm actually going to scoot back on. I want a little more spring. I'm going to go for one red. So I'll put one red on, take my blue off. And again, just really being aware as you're controlling through. I'm going to come up into a kneeling up position. I'm just going to hold the webbing of the straps here and just pull back and control forwards. Now, the kneeling position is a challenge again. It's really important that you control the recoil, because that's where the danger zone is, if you like. Because if you let go, you can bash into the stopper, and of course you can fall forwards. So really being aware of that as you're working. Nice and upright through the spine, pulling back and control. Let's pull back, hold, take it into the full expression of the chest expansion, head to one side, center, other side, center, release. We do that again. I'm going to turn, go back the way I came and release. I'm going to do all that again. So pull, hold, turn to side number one, center, side number two, and center and release. And then I'm going to turn to number two first, pull back, number two, center, number one, and release, and releasing all the way. We'll pop those straps down again. I'm going to come around and we're going to lighten the spring down. I'm going to go really light now into one yellow. So I've got one yellow on, taking the red off. And again, this moves easy, so be careful. So I'm kneeling on the carriage here, and I've got my feet sort of hanging over the edge a little bit at the back. And I'm just going to do some lateral rotation. So I'm going to hold the strap in that longest loop, elbows into the waist, and just open the forearm and control back. Nice. So if you've done the other ones of these, I'd like to talk about the humerus being the hinge and your forearm being the door. So the hinge rotates and the door opens. Nice, we're going to go one more here. Good. And then I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to opt for the shorter loop now and do shaving side. So we reach the arm up and control back down. The elbow kind of points slightly forwards as you bring the hand up and down. I'm trying to keep my torso nice and straight. I'm controlling through the shoulder as I'm working. Up and down. One more. Up and down. Nice. We're going to do semaphore, lots more triceps again. So I'm going to take this hand round into the longer loop, slight side bend here, and I'm just going to, you can either hold on completely. I just like to have my fingertips onto the head shoulder rest there, looking down to the shoulder rest, straighten and control back. So looking down takes the strap out of your face. This is also called profile, this exercise. So you've got your profile forwards here, if that makes sense. That's not an oxymoron. Keeping the elbow, it's still in space if you can, and just move that forearm to get the tricep work. I'm going one more. And then release, and release that all the way back. Nice. Now on the way around to the other side, we're going to do reverse expansion. So I'm going to turn, and as I go, I'm going to come up to that blue again. So blue on, yellow off, and I'm going to reach for the other strap. Feet against the shoulder rest, knees underneath the hips, nice straight back. I've got the long loops again, and I'm just pulling forwards and controlling back. Now this one is, I would say, your most danger zone in terms of just letting go of the straps, and especially as I'm releasing, controlling the recoil. Remind yourself, remind your clients to control that recoil as the carriage returns. Otherwise, you're going to end up on your face. We don't want that. All right, we're going to do hug. So bring the arms up, turn the palms to face each other, open, and then press the hands towards each other. Keep that coming, working through the chest, controlling the recoil again. Nice. And I'm going to go one more here. Hold it forwards, turn the palms down, bring the arms up. We're shaving the back of the head now, or salute, this is also called. Bend the elbows, reach and straighten. A lot of more tricep work again. Keeping the elbows, I can see my elbows in my peripheral vision, so they're slightly forward, and you might feel like you're leaning forward slightly into this exercise. You can do that, but not so far forwards that you lose control. Great, we're going one more. Nice, I'm going to bring the arms all the way out and around. I'm going to add a cheeky spring on. So we had one blue on there. I'm going to add that red. I'm not sure, I might regret this, but I'm going to work some biceps now. We've done a lot of triceps. So I'm going to take the hands behind the line of the body, pull up into the bicep, and then control back. Working those biceps nice and strong. This feels kind of safe and secure here. But again, you've still got to control that recoil. I think it's just because the arms aren't so long, as it were. You're not working with the elbows straight so much, although we are obviously straight back here, but it's kind of behind the line of the body. I feel more compact, I feel more control, and the stronger spring feels great working through those biceps. Let's give it one more. Nice, and then release. And we've got to do all of that side arm work on the other side. So I'll drop this strap down, change my springs up again. So I've got to go down to that yellow, taking those other two springs off. Good, now we started with that lateral rotation, didn't we? So I'm just pulling forwards here, holding that strap, elbow tucked into the waist. And here we go, opening the door of your forearm. So notice that hinge, the humerus rotating in the socket of the shoulder. You'll notice your shoulder blade does move towards the other one, especially as you get into this out position here, but focus mainly on the movement through the ball and socket joint of the shoulder. Last one here. Shaving side, I'm going to switch hands and switch loops. Straight up, control back down again. Controlling through the shoulder and reaching the hands up. Good. As the hand lifts, think about the armpit just gently dropping to keep the shoulder in a good position there. So we're trying not to compress or pinch any of the muscles that work around the shoulder. Here's our last one. Good, back in again, switching hands. I'm switching loops again. Taking the fingertips down, trying to be nice and upright. There is that little side bend happening through the waist here, looking down at my fingers as I straighten and control back. Let's keep that coming. Trying to keep the wrist long. You'll notice with this exercise as well that the wrist will tend to break the line there. So you want to keep that long. So one of my favorite cues is to point the finger, which can really help keep that wrist long. Great, I'm going to release that all the way back again. Releasing that strap down. Now I'm going to keep it on a one yellow, so as I said, that's quite light. I'll just pivot around here, and then I'm going to grab the long box. So we'll put the long box on. And we need to get the foot bar out of the way, so we'll drop that. Good. And then, do you know what? I've changed my mind in terms of spring resistance. I want to feel like I've got something to pull against, so I'm going to go up to a blue. So I'm putting one blue on and I'm taking that yellow off. And then I'm going to lie on my tummy, elegantly coming onto the box. And then this is where we're going to use the push-through bar as well. So I'm going to take hold of the runners and just pull myself up on the runners. Now the push-through bar at this point in time has no springs on, and I'm just going to hold on to the bar here. Just some nice easy scapular isolation, shrugging down and up with the shoulders. And I'm letting the springs just assist me to do this movement. So as I pull the shoulders down, there's a little bit of spring resistance and then control back. So it's a bit about controlling through the bar here, as well as the work through the reformer, through the carriage. Now I'm going to take this into kind of a swan, so I'm going to bend the elbows and lift the chest a little, and then release back down again. I like to almost think I'm trying to keep the bar fairly still in space as I'm working, using the abdominals to support the spine, and then release. Let's take this one more time. And release. And now I'm going to do some pull-ups. So I'm keeping the torso long and straight, and I'm just pulling myself all the way up, almost just grazing my forehead over the push-through bar. Pull the shoulders down, bend the elbows and pull up, and control that all the way back the way you came. So shoulders down, elbows bend, pull up. Really nice to get that feeling of depression of the scapula first as you pull up. So pulling the shoulder blades down towards the back pockets as you pull up. That was my last one. I'm going to change to an underhand grip and do some, you could call these chin ups if you like, pulling up. And actually look, yeah, I can get my chin over the bar. Let's try that. So again, a little more bicep work, and I'm pulling the chin over the bar. Same again, have a think about the shoulder blades gliding down the back before you bend those elbows. 2 more. Last one. Nice. And then I'm going to come up again, and now I'm going to take hold of the uprights. So carefully going to let that go, and then just holding the uprights, just pushing those springs out of the way. I'm going to stay here and do some scapular isolation again. And actually this one, I'm sort of, because I've pulled myself right up, I've got quite a strong stretch on the spring. So I'm just enjoying that stretch around the shoulders into the lats there. And I'm going to take this stretch a little further by pulling myself up a bit more, and then taking this left hand over to the right side, and then I'm going to drop back. So I'm allowing that sort of slight side bend to happen. Just going to do a few scapular isolation there. And then I'm just going to hold, let the spring pull me back for the stretch. I'm just going to drop this left ear towards the left bicep. So there's a little more rotation along with the side bend. And then release, and let's do that on the other side. So right hand comes underneath, dropping back. Scapular isolation there. And then letting the spring just gently pull me back for the stretch. But I'm still quite active, so that's what feels really nice about this. It's kind of an active stretch. And I'm going to drop my right ear. Subtle movements, but big stretch. And then I'm releasing, and I'm going to walk myself all the way back again on the runners. Good. All right, carefully coming off there. Good. And we'll take this back to our single red. We're going to do some arms pulling straps. So we're going to come down onto the box again, holding on here, sliding onto the box, chest on the box. I'm going to reach down and grab my straps. I'm going to take up the ropes, and then we're just pulling forwards and back, just like our regular arms pulling straps here. At this point in time, I'm keeping the torso long, straight, little energy out through the legs as well, supporting the weight of those legs. All right, we're going to lift the head and lift the shoulders and then release back down again. Trying to go from a position of flexion now to extension. So I'm trying to keep the lumbar spine pretty neutral as I'm flexing and extending the upper back, the thoracic spine. I'm going to take one more here. And then release. Keep the body straight, pull the hands to the hips and hold. And I'm going to work some triceps, so bending and straightening the elbows. So the forearms are just kind of framing the long box here as I'm working my triceps. Last two like this. And a one. Then we're going to go into triceps targeter. So I'm going to bend the elbows, reach the arms forwards, pull the hands to the hips, and then bend the elbows. I always think this is a bit like a choo-choo train. So reach the hands forward, push down, pull the hands to the hips, bend, reach forwards. Or one more. Bend, reach forwards. Now I'm going to reverse. So I'm going to pull the elbows to the waist, straighten the arms, and then release down. Let's keep that going. Pull the elbows to the waist, then straighten the arms, and then release down. Two more of those. Elbows to waist, hands to hips, fists to floor. Elbows to waist, hands to hips, fists to floor. Great. We're going to release those straps or pop them back on their little hooks, sliding off. So we're going to do that whole set again, but working with the springs from the tower and from the reformer. So I want to change this so it's a bit lighter. So I'm going to take that red, beg your pardon, blue is on, red is off. So I just have one blue on. Now I'm going to take the two straps, again it's a little bit fiddly just getting on, but take the two handles, still those yellow springs. So I'm approaching from my right side, I'm going to take the handles in my left and then slide on the long box like this. And you can see I've almost already pulled myself off from the stopper on the reformer. So let's see how this goes. Pull the straps down, controlling forwards, and then release. So you can see that little, oh, I've got to watch I don't bang that stopper, haven't I? So you can see that little bounce that wants to happen at the end here. Let me just hold that. There's my bounce. All right, so control that bounce as you're working through as best you can. So you keep the energy in the straps. I'm getting a shake on already. All right, here we go. Let's extend. So lifting the upper back, pulling the hands to the hips. Nice, releasing. I'm doing two more. I'm giggling because it's hard work. Nice. Here we go, one more. Nice, pulling the hands to the hips. Let's try those triceps. Bend and straighten. Again, really think about slowing this down because there's a real temptation. You can feel yourself bouncing and you want to pick the speed up. So, let me see if I can slow this down now. Here we go. Long necks, wide collarbones. Watch the shoulders don't creep up. Can we do the triceps targeter? Let's try. Reach and straighten. Release the hands forwards. Good. And then we're going to bend the elbows to the waist, straighten the arms, and control back down again. Two more of those. Bend to pull, straighten to reach, control back down. Last one. Bend, straighten, and control back down. Now I've got to reverse it. So pull the hands to the hips, hold, bend to control, and reach and straighten. Couple more here. Pull, bend, control forwards. Last one. Pull, bend. Hey, I'm bouncing. And control forwards. Nice. Now coming off, we've got to go back the way we came. So I'm going to take both those straps into that left hand and I'm going to slide off. I've got to use a little bit of elbow there as well. Back to the stopper and then control these all the way back again. Right, we're going to take the long box off again. I'm going to use the push through bar again, but this time I'm going to add some springs on. So I'm just going to step through to add on this side. So I've got 2 blue springs here and I'm going to add those on. And we're going to work, I'm going to stay, so I've got 2 blue up there, 1 blue still down here. I'm going to come onto the reformer, just holding onto the headrest as you come on. And I'm going to be nice and close here again, just watch the carriage moves easy. I'm just going to reach, so you've got to sort of reach for it and then come in nice and close. And all I'm going to do is bend the elbow and pull myself in and then control back. So it's just a little bit of control working against this spring here and also those 2 springs up the top. Nice, I'm just going to do 1 more here. And then we're going to add a side bend. So as I pull, I'm going to reach up and over and I can push down a little bit onto the push through bar. Control up. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay here and up and over. Control back up and over. Control back up. I'll do 1 more. Pushing down nice and firmly with that spring and then release all the way back. And then we'll just finish off with some up and over here and a release. And again, another little side bend as you pull down. Kneeling mermaid. Last one. And then release. Carefully let that come back up. This is where you've just got to be aware of everything that's going on. I'm going to hold on there, let that go like that. Pivot around. And we'll do the same on the other side. Reach and then hold. Okay, so pull down and control back. Pull down. So I'm just kind of trying to bend and straighten this pulling arm as I'm working. And you're just letting the push through bar respond to that. Then we add the side bend. So we're going to stay here and then we're going to release and we do again. Pull and a release. Pull and release. And 1 more. Pull, release. And then we'll sweep the arm all the way up and over and a return. All the way up and over and return. I think about 2 more makes me even. Last one. Good. And then release. And again, just pivoting around, hand on here just to support so we can then release that back up again. So I'm going to just pop this back out of the way so nobody gets a head hit. Coming up and through. And then release that all the way back down. I'm going to bring the foot bar up and we're going to come down and do a mermaid in this position as well. There I am. So I'm going to add, I think I'll just stick with a single red. So I'm going to take the blue off and stay with the single red. And then coming into my mermaid position here. So this configuration with the legs, this shin is against the shoulder rest and the hand is here onto the foot bar. Sweeping the arm up and over the ear for the side bend and then return. I'm going to land that hand, lift this one up and side bend here. We're going to do 2 more rounds of that. Up and over, up and a return all the way over for the side bend here. And we've got 1 more. And return and up and over. Now I'm just going to add a little tricep stretch on the end. So I'm going to hold at the top, then bend this elbow so the hand, oh I can feel that already, hand comes to the back of the shoulders, and then either bring the hand over the front to press or reach up and over and just find that little stretch through the triceps there. You can add a little side bend on as well away from the foot bar if that feels good. Up, release, and then we'll transition to do the other side. I'll take my hands back, flip the legs around, reorganize, ready for the other side. Lifting this arm up, pushing away, controlling with the shoulders. Return, land that hand, then lift and side bend here. Up, release. We've got 2 more of these. Up and over. Return. So as you're working here, floating the arms up, the armpits easy drop. So you've got that lovely, loose, easy movement through the shoulders. The neck feels comfortable as well. Coming all the way up and over. Now I'm going to hold this here, drop the hand down between the shoulders, adding in for the tricep stretch, just a very gentle pull, trying to keep as much length through the waist as I can, and then an up and over, pulling away from the foot bar there. Then release. I'm going to bring my hands down, bring the legs out, come all the way up into standing. Just a little bit of a bicep stretch because we have to work those as well. Taking the hands behind the line of the body if you can. Really try and straighten your elbows and feel a little stretch through the biceps, and then reach the fingertips back for an extra zingy stretch through the wrist and into the biceps as well. Nice, then release, roll those shoulders, feel the length through the spine, and I hope you worked as hard as I did.